the time of way back.
Racism is still real in 2012, despite the fact we have a black president. People said we live in a post-racial era. That's pretty much baloney. We know that that's not true. Do you think race shapes the perception of you?
Taking advantage of what you know what I'm gonna do, because you don't ever give me a face shake. You know that? So I'm gonna let you talk to Victor Ortiz, all right? I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking
heard him. You never give me a fair shake. HBO need to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit.
So instead of letting himself be backed into the ropes like that, Kirkland needs to reverse that, turn it around and back Molina into the ropes and trap him and go ghetto on it.
He's too...
What's going on? It's your boy Dante562 again, and today I want to talk about a serious topic that once again not too many people want to really talk about or bring up, but I want to talk about HBO's Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant directly, and when I talk about them, I want it to be known right off the bat. I'm not talking about people like Teddy Atlas, Joe Tessitore, the Showtime commentary, Skybox from the UK, the General. I think all of these other analysts and commentators, I personally think they do an excellent job on calling the fight. No conflict of interest, no double standards, no contradiction, no favoritism. And this is what I see a lot of when I watch HBO boxing because of Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant. Now, see, to me, Larry Merchant is basically the Floyd Mayweather of the commentating world. You know what I mean? Because just like Floyd Mayweather, you have people who love Merchant. You have people who hate him. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, people always want to hear what he has to say next. You know what I'm saying? So in that note, he's pretty much, like Floyd Mayweather. And because Larry Merchant is so large and so animated, it seems to me he's actually overshadowed Jim Lampley, which Jim Lampley is a sleeper that a lot of people are not paying attention to. As far as I'm concerned, Jim Lampley, he has made a hell of a transformation from the days back when I used to watch him till now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna show you guys a lot of clips. As far as I'm concerned, when I listen to Jim Lampley, you can obviously see it. You can see. I've said it before in my other videos. Jim and Larry, their favorite fighters are Oscar De La Hoya and Manny Pacquiao. You better not say nothing bad about Oscar De La Hoya or Manny Pacquiao when they're fighting if Jim is there. Because Jim will defend them in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I want you guys to look at some of these clips, and we're gonna break down all of these clips, to give you a deeper intel of where I'm going with this. So to get a better understanding of this, let's go back into time, back to the Jack Johnson era.
When Jim Corbett, the man who took the heavyweight title from John L. Sullivan, had displayed some of the same defensive skills as Jack Johnson did, sports writers praised him as the cleverest man in boxing, Gentleman Jim. But when Johnson fought that way, he was said to be lazy, shiftless, showing the yellow streak which all African Americans were supposed to share.
With black boxers, every trait that was a positive trait, they tried to turn it into a negative trait. If a black boxer was tough and could withstand punishment, well, he could withstand punishment because his skull was thicker, because he was insensitive to pain. That it really was a sign of some larger inferiority. If he was a smart boxer, a wily boxer, then he was slightly deceptive. There was something untrustworthy about his activity in the ring.
Now, I already know for some people who can't relate to this type of video, or some of the people who are just being naive to the video and acting like racism doesn't exist. I know right now you guys are probably saying, hey, so what, man? That video clip was 100 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Or the story was 100 years ago. You know what I mean? But this is exactly why we're going to show you a modern comparison so that you understand that history definitely does repeat itself. In this clip right here, I have a perfect comparison of when Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, they do the exact same move in the ring. And when Floyd Mayweather does it, it's considered typical Floyd Mayweather. When Manny Pacquiao does the exact same thing, it's considered amazing. Go ahead and check this out.
Figure out how to crowd him.
And this is typical Mayweather right here. One punch and then out of the way. He landed a left hook lead, moved away. He landed a right cross lead, moved away. There it is again. Sticks a jab, moves away.
Thing to me is just seeing how effective Marquez has been landing with those clean, well-placed shots.
There was an amazing piece of footwork by Pacquiao, who moved to 3 or 4 different places while Marquez was standing still. There's another amazing piece of footwork as he lands a shot and goes by Marquez to a place where
Marquez is taking his time and placing his punches.
Now, you know what's so funny about that comment that Jim Lampley, had just said was, in that round, Manny Pacquiao was getting pretty much bested by Juan Marquez. That was actually one of Marquez's best rounds, and if you probably listen, you could hear Emmanuel Stewart, basically telling Jim, but Marquez is still winning the round. He says something, I'm paraphrasing, but he says something on the lines like that. And as if that wasn't enough, this is what I mean when I say Jim, he will defend his favorite fighter. So not only does he make that statement right there, but then he requests a replay of Manny Pacquiao doing that exact same move. When Marquez clearly won the round, they could have showed any clips of Marquez throwing punches, but they decide that they're going to show this clip. Check it out.
Let's take a look at Manny Pacquiao's foot movement after he lands a punch. This is what I was talking about at the end of the last round. He lands a left and a right. Now watch him run away at an angle where Marquez can't possibly throw a shot. He did it 3 straight times at the end of the round.
Then Marquez waited till he stopped moving and nailed him with an uppercut.
Now let's look at this comparison between Floyd Mayweather and Victor Ortiz. In this comparison right here, you'll see when Floyd Mayweather smiles when punches are thrown at him, listen to what Jim Lampley says about when Floyd smiles. And then listen to how Lampley, he uses it as a defense to defend Ortiz when he smiles. Check this out.
Of Ortiz's offensive attack. Ortiz gets to the body, though, with a couple of shots in the corner. And Mayweather grins at him, which suggests to us that Ortiz made an impact on the ribcage.
And Mayweather looks like, I have him, I'm going to just chop him down systematically with the right hand.
Mayweather is more relaxed. He's landing with extreme accuracy. Victor Ortiz does not seem hurt by any of these punches, and he's got a grin on his face. He had his moments in the second round. Ortiz grinning. He's getting excited in there.
Speaking of excitement, look how excited Jim Lampley gets when Ortiz lands a combination. And then look how exciting, or maybe I should say, look how monotone Lampley gets when Floyd Mayweather lands a combination.
Ortiz's face. Misses with the right. And Victor Ortiz lands the right hook. He got one in there, and he lands another one. And the big left. And Ortiz is ripping Mayweather against the ropes. How do you have it for 3?
Okay, Jim. 2 rounds to 1. 29-28, Floyd Mayweather. Jim, in round 3, Floyd got into his rhythm, beat the heck out of him, and he's continuing right here. Look at those right hands. Beautiful. The left hooks. Beautiful. 2-1, Mayweather.
And now Ortiz's face is beginning to be marked by Mayweather's power punches, and Mayweather seems to be putting substantially more pop on them now in this round.
Now, I want to go ahead and make this clear right now, because I already know you're going to get the Mayweather haters watching this right now, and they saying, so what these commentators don't like Mayweather, because, I don't like him either, and et cetera, et cetera. I know people going to say that, but see, this is my whole thing, though. If you're a boxing fan and you don't like somebody, you don't like Mayweather, you don't like Pacquiao, that's on you. There's nothing wrong with it if you're a fan. You know what I mean? But when you are like an official, when you're a judge, when you're a referee, when you're a commentator, it becomes a conflict of interest. You know, and this is why I brought up earlier other boxing networks. You know, if you ever watch ESPN Friday Night Fights, you know, you never see any favoritism. Same thing with when you watch Showtime boxing. You know, if anyone has ever been able to watch, you know, Sky Sports, which is the UK pay-per-view, which you know, they no longer have pay-per-view anymore or something like that. But if you've ever been able to listen to their commentary, man, these guys are great when it comes to boxing commentary. You know what I mean? If they see greatness, they treat it exactly like it is, greatness. You know what I'm saying? If they see a terrible fighter, they're going to treat you like a terrible fighter. But they're basing you and they're judging you off of your skills, not your personality, not what you do outside of the ring. So that's why I want people to know, you know, like I said, you know, if you're a boxing fan, it's okay to like or dislike somebody. But it's not cool when you are a commentator. You know what I mean? Now, what I'm about to show you guys next, this, as far as I'm concerned, is some classic footage. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of stuff that really raised my eyebrows and really made me, you know, put my head to the side and start looking at, you know, Jim and Larry sideways. You know, this is a post-fight interview after the Floyd Mayweather Oscar De La Hoya fight. Now, for whatever reason, this had obviously been a special enough occasion for Jim and Larry to do an additional post-fight interview for this fight. You ever talk to one of your boys after their favorite fighter just completely lost? They be pretty pissed off, huh? Yeah, I remember. Matter of fact, I remember when I went over to my boy's house. He Puerto Rican, and he threw a Pacquiao Cotto fight party. Everybody at the party Puerto Rican, right? And you know, of course, you know, ain't nothing but Puerto Rican flags flying, everything, right? Of course, Manny Pacquiao, he beats the hell out of Cotto. Man, my Rican homies, they were so mad. I remember this one Puerto Rican girl, you know, that was sitting by me. She just kept saying, "That damn Manny, he don't even have balance. He throw punches all wild and stuff like that." You know what I'm saying? Even though he won the fight, she's so pissed off. She talking about all of Pacquiao's flaws. You know what I mean? Because she's pissed off. You know. So the reason I say that is because it's pretty much what I'm going to show you right now with Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley when they do this interview. They sound like pissed off boxing fans. Their favorite fighter just lost. Now I'm about to show you guys this, and I warn you. You know what I'm saying? When you listen to this interview, you are gonna almost think that Oscar De La Hoya won the fight, and it's a celebration, a victory. You know, it's a victory celebration for Oscar De La Hoya. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but watch how they even link Floyd Mayweather to Roy Jones, Pernell Whitaker, and they try to turn a positive into a negative, just like when we were watching the Jack Johnson clip. Just go ahead and check this
Larry,
out,
it was
guys.
seen in some media circles not just as a great challenge for the two fighters, but as a direct challenge for the sport, or an opportunity for boxing to once again prove itself on the world stage. In light of all that, how would you rate both the fight and the event?
The event, 9.8. The fight, 8.2. The event sizzled with anticipation and glamour. The fight couldn't match that with fireworks and drama. If you were rooting for a brawl, you'd have to go back to Tony Soprano versus his brother-in-law. But it was a serious boxing match, a good fight that ended with most fans in the arena believing their man won.
Indeed, and thereupon hangs some of the story, which we'll get to in the hour ahead. Floyd, in the weeks before the fight, you seemed to be promising a landslide, a one-sided performance, something which would look stunningly easy to people who weren't familiar with all the steps on your rise to the #1 spot on the pound-for-pound rankings. So, was this what you expected, or was it tougher and closer than you'd thought?
Well, Oscar De La Hoya is a good fighter. I expected a good fight, and I feel that it was a great fight. It was a good fight between both, and I went out there. I felt that I won unanimous, but I feel that Oscar did put on a hell of a fight and put on a hell of a show.
All right, Oscar De La Hoya, your long stretches of inactivity made you more of a question mark entering the fight. Mayweather was seen as younger, faster. He was the favorite. Did you match your own expectations? Did you exceed them? Or did you in some way fall short of what you wanted to do?
Well, I think at this stage of my career, I exceeded them. I mean, obviously, when you're facing the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, you don't really expect to even touch him. And you know, Floyd Mayweather Jr., he's a great fighter, and I have all the respect in the world for his abilities. But I kind of surprised myself, obviously, with all the hard work you put in. You know, you want to see results, and I was very content and satisfied with what I accomplished.
I'll be honest, you surprised and impressed a lot of us too. And with all that having been said, let's now turn our attention to the prize fight. As we look back now, we have the advantage of being able to show you official scorecards round to round en route to the split decision for Mayweather. And one point should be underlined well in advance. This turns out to be a close fight. When we enter the 12th round, the cards will show you the outcome is still up for grabs. 2 of the 3 judges give the last round to De La Hoya. And had the 3rd judge, Jerry Roth, done the same, the ultimate verdict would have been a draw. So there is suspense right up until the final bell, and plenty of questions for both fighters to consider in the aftermath. Oscar, there's a perception in the public fascination with your career that you're looking for one big win on which to go out, and you came close but didn't quite get it here. When people look back, there is still going to be lingering hurts in the hearts of your fans about the closing rounds of the Trinidad fight, the fact that you were leading midway through both Mosley fights. Once again, halfway through this fight, you're right there with a big chance to win. Are you looking for the fight that you can finish the right way so that your career can finish the right way?
Well, let's just put it this way, Jim. I didn't win the fight, but I don't feel like a loser.
Final thoughts from our perspective. At the end of the day, this sport is about more than competition, and this fight becomes another exhibit in that regard. Fighters want to win their fights, and what Floyd Mayweather does maximizes all his chances in that regard. He avoids punishment, he carefully selects his opportunities to score, he gradually erodes the will of his opponents, he walks away clean. Pernell Whitaker and Roy Jones did all the same things, and like Mayweather, they rose to the top rung on the pound-for-pound ladder for significant periods in their careers. But fans want something else. Fans want fighters who take risks to please them, who understand that the passion play is more moving than the clinical exercise, who are willing to come into harm's way to try to do harm. That's what Oscar De La Hoya has given to boxing through the whole second half of his career, ever since he moved to welterweight, with the exception of those poignantly unforgettable last 5 rounds versus Felix Trinidad. How different his career might have felt if it weren't for that one night. How much less popular he might have been if he had taken the Whitaker-Jones-Mayweather route and tried mostly to rack up win after win. The fans who think Oscar pulled off the near impossible last Saturday night are mostly voting with their hearts. But those hearts are largely what drive the sport. In that sense, the best way to see the outcome of Mayweather-De La Hoya is not just as a close win for Floyd, but rather as a victory for both. Both men accomplished what they set out to do. Larry?
Jim, way back when there hadn't been a popular heavyweight champion for a decade, a headline read, "Can Joe Louis save boxing?" Like live theater, boxing survives as a fabulous invalid, now as a niche sport. True, few kids grow up dreaming of becoming champions, and few uncles today will buy them boxing clubs for their birthday. But you can find 3 or 4 boxing shows weekly on cable TV, and many more replays of classic, and there are enormous and very, very dear friends of boxing in the Latino population. And globally, just recently, 35,000 at a fight in Wales, 20,000 in Denmark, 3 packed arenas in Germany. A Japanese fighter attracts 60 million viewers. And when Manny Pacquiao fights, crime-ridden areas of the Philippines have zero crime. And last Saturday, the lively corpse of boxing sat up with fists pumping because one fight exploded into a $150 million happening. One day, guaranteed, the question will be asked, can, say, a heavyweight version of Oscar De La Hoya save boxing?
Indeed, and that day may be well down the road. Boxing will still be around. Thank you very much, Larry. Thank you, Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather, for your time.
Man, did you guys hear that shit? Did you hear what Jim and Larry said? Did you hear Jim say, you know, although fighters like Roy Jones and Pernell Whitaker and Floyd Mayweather are good at avoiding punches and winning fights easy, fighters want to see more than that. People really want to see Oscar De La Hoya. But wait a minute though. Let's see what they say when Oscar De La Hoya fights this hit and not be hit type style. Let's see if they say the same things that they say about Floyd, Roy Jones, and Pernell Whitaker. This is interesting though. Watch the argument that Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant are having throughout the entire fight. Basically, Larry Merchant, you know, to his credit, he's calling it like he sees it. Well, at least he's trying to. And Jim Lampley, like I said before, is constantly defending De La Hoya as if he's his defense attorney or something. Check it out.
I have to assume that the boos are being directed at De La Hoya by the Trinidad fans who want to see Oscar stand and fight instead of moving away from their man's shots. They're booing De La Hoya because when he moves this effectively, Felix can't find him.
You know, the picture you get, presumably from out there among the fans, is one man dancing around the ring and the other man chasing him. There's a natural inclination to think one guy's trying to not to fight and the other guy is trying to fight.
But that's not true.
Well, he's making it work. You know, there's an old saying in boxing, win this fight, you'll look sensational in the next one. And De La Hoya is just trying to win this fight.
He's throwing just as many punches as Trinidad. He's choosing when to stand his ground and rallying and moving away.
Oh, but that's superior conditioning, the footwork.
The boxing.
Trinidad folds up and doesn't throw a shot, though. You got to throw lots of punches if you're Trinidad. The knockout will come if you connect.
But it's hard to throw punches at a moving target.
And that's what's happening tonight.
Oscar has moved for 10.5 rounds.
Yeah, but what's so interesting is Oscar's always been the one to close the show. Now he's trying to close the show by guaranteeing a victory for himself simply by staying away from Trinidad.
Well, let's see what his instincts lead him to do.
Throw anything hard.
This is not an edifying moment for De La Hoya the way he's fought this round. It's not what his fans have expected from him.
But he lands a big left hook there, and it gets him off the ropes.
And what's so funny is Oscar, he's not even boxing like a Floyd Mayweather or a Pernell Whitaker or a Roy Jones Jr. All he's doing is running around the ring, throwing flurries. Then he runs again, and he throws flurries. Kind of like what Amir Khan does today. But yet, Jim Lampley is praising him on him doing such a great job of boxing. Hypocrisy. See, basically what he was doing, Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant, what they were basically saying is, look, champ, we know you weren't good enough to beat the best fighters in the world. But guess what? You got a fan with us. That's right, because Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant, they still love you. And I'm talking about Oscar De La Hoya, by the way. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. You guys really need to go back to that Jack Johnson clip that I was showing you earlier. I mean, Just imagine with these clips we watching right now of Roy Jones and Floyd Mayweather. I mean, let's be honest right now. If these fighters were not black, do you think they would have received a reception like they got from Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley? Of course they wouldn't. Come on, man. Of course they wouldn't. You know, this is not rocket scientists. This is common sense. If you're not ignorant and naive, then you know exactly what it is we're looking at. You know exactly what it is we're dealing with. Jim Lampley sits here and he says, they know how to hit and not get hit, but boxing fans want more than that. Boxing fans want people that's gonna take risk. Let me tell you something. First of all, I used to box before. My kids box, like I said before. When you get in that ring, you're taking a risk. When you get in that ring, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. You know what I'm saying? So it's ridiculous to even say that. But not only that, but in Floyd Mayweather's, if you watch Floyd Mayweather's 43 fights, you will see Floyd Mayweather standing right in front of his opponents. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame Floyd Mayweather because people can't hit him, because he's not receiving that much damage. In every single sport there is, the goal is to score as many points as you can and defend the goal from your opponent scoring on you. That's the goal in every single sport. You know what I'm saying? If a certain football team won the Super Bowl every single season, it wouldn't matter if they won by one field goal or if they won, by a landslide. They would still be considered the greatest team of all time. You know what I mean? A win is a win. Just like Vin Diesel said in Fast and the Furious, it don't matter if you win by an inch. A win is a win. You feel what I'm saying? And what makes it even funnier is Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather. He's got his nose all bloodied up in the Cotto fight. He stood toe to toe with Cotto. He stood toe to toe with a much bigger Victor Ortiz. But no matter what we do, as black people, as black fighters, you will always be criticized. You will always be criticized. History repeats itself. You know what I'm saying? If Floyd Mayweather, if he boxes, then they call him reluctant. If he stands there and fights toe to toe, then they say he must be losing his legs. I mean, you just can't win for losing. You know what I'm saying? If Floyd doesn't get touched, it's because he doesn't take risk. He gets his nose busted. Oh, now he's a flawed fighter. He's exposed. He's not as good as he claimed to be. It's always going to be an excuse, man. Always. Then Larry Merchant gonna say, maybe one day we'll be lucky enough to have a heavyweight Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, can you believe this ridiculous shit that they saying? I mean, it's just flat out ridiculous. They did everything but rub Oscar De La Hoya's back and wipe his tears away. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. Roy Jones fought as a heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? What are you guys talking about? Complete hypocrisy. The definition of hypocrisy. I also wanted to talk about how Tim Bradley is being treated by Jim Lampley as well, but I don't have enough time. But the fight is a week and a half from now, and mark my words, you're going to see a difference on how Jim talks about Bradley and how he talks about Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Jim Lampley, he gives Bradley no credit for any of his victories. Matter of fact, at one fight, Lampley even said, all of his biggest wins are all from headbutt. But yet, when Victor Ortiz was intentionally jumping in the air and headbutting Floyd Mayweather, Jim Lampley, typical fashion, he said nothing about it. He talks more like a fan than a commentator. But anyway, I'm gonna have to do a part 2 to this video because I had a whole lot more footage that I wanted to show, but I just can't fit it all in this video. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that this video, it opened a lot of eyes. I know there's gonna be a lot of the haters who gonna watch this and they're gonna applaud the way that Jim and Larry act, but that's fine. You know what I'm saying? I just want to bring this to light. You feel me? So you guys go ahead and give me your opinion, man. Tell me what you think about this video. You know, tell me what you think about, you know, how these cats are acting. You know? So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one. Peace.